Today we're fishing for carps, as usual. Hopefully we'll get some fish on the float. Today I'm going to try and get my first fish on the Korean float. The float. The flute. What's going on, guy? I want more corns. Is there any more corns? Alright, today fishing has been very slow. We picked up one fish. The fish was 6 pounds. So I'm just going to take a quick minute to answer 2 questions that I've received. One from a guy out of Cambridge and one out of close to home. Basically asking me how to use a method ball or set up a method feeder and how I set up my float. So following is going to be how I set up my float, and then after I'll just quickly show you how to use a method feeder. I know a lot of you local guys already know how to do this stuff. I'm just answering the questions, and hopefully it'll help these 2 guys out catch more fish. Okay, today I'm fishing with these Korean floats. These Korean floats are coming out of Brawny Outdoor, which is in Mississauga. This is a 16-inch long float. It's 3 grams, which means you're going to need 3 grams at least to basically get the float to cock correctly. I would advise overshotting it slightly. This is something that I learned from one of the better float fishing anglers. His name is Steven at a New World Carp. To set up this rig, what you're going to need is some Raven 1/16 tubing, some standard beads. I'll tell you why we use these afterwards. Some egg sinkers. This is a size 8. Snap swivels, and Raven leads. Now I'll show you how this works. Okay, to set up this particular rig with this float, what you're going to do is you're going to put one split the length of the depth of the net away from the business end of the rig, being the hook length. The reason you're going to do this is to keep the float out of the net so that way you don't break your float. I'm currently using a 60 grain, and that's to balance and get the float to cock correctly. Further down, I have another 60 grain, and you're going to put them in roughly 12-inch increments. Continuing down, I'm using a size 8 egg sinker. This is going to be the anchoring lead. This is what's going to get the float to fully cock and set correctly. And further down, one standard bead. Okay, you can use any bead, doesn't matter. Purpose of this bead is so that way the sliding egg does not jeopardize the knot to the swivel, which holds your hook length. I'm currently using a 1 foot long hook length. That gives the fish some room to move with the bait without knowing that there's a rig or a weight attached. Today I was using pineapple monster maize. Reason I'm using that is the gobies were real bad because we're using cracked corn. The gobies were in there. We didn't want to get any goby bites, so we're using a big bait, pineapple monster maize being the bait today, with a size 8 hook. Okay, the final part of putting this rig together with this float is the adapter and the snap swivel. The snap swivel allows the float to run up the line. This way you can set your stopper to the depth that you're fishing. Now, these particular adapters are great adapters. You can buy these from New World Carp, but with all due respect, you don't have to buy these. You can get the materials and make them yourself. It's very easy. You're going to buy some Raven silicone tubing. It's about $2 for 1.5 feet. And with that, what you're going to do is simply cut off about 1.5 inches or 2 inches of material based on the length of the float tip. And you're just simply going to take a standard micro swivel and insert it into the tube. With that being said, this tube is not going to go anywhere. And then after that, you're just going to insert the float. And now you've got your adapter. You attach that to your snap swivel, and now you've got a free running float. It's fairly easy, fairly effective. Okay. For the guy in Cambridge that was asking about method feeders, this is a standard method feeder you can pick up at most of the stores. It's a 30+, but in reality you don't need to use a method feeder. You can use a standard lead. Just make your method sticky enough to stick to it. This here is chicken feed. I add cream corn and some standard boiled corn, And the cream corn is to get it to stick together. To make the method ball, it's fairly straightforward. You're just going to take the method and mold it onto the feeder. One half at a time. With that being said, there's your method ball. What you're going to do is on your main line, you're going to put your method feeder above the main line, and then a swivel is going to slide into this, and then from that you're going to have your hook length. Method will break down, get the fish in the area, and then they'll find your hook bait. Very simple, very effective. Post-fishing wrap-up video. Today was slow at best. We put in 8 hours. We put in lots of bait. We couldn't get the fish to feed. I ended up with 2 fish, a 6-pound massive cracking common, and a 10-pound stunner with a busted upper lip. We had a goose that would not leave us and got a little tangled up in our line, but he's okay. Other than that, lots of boats. Melissa's day was action-packed, so full of action. She passed out. She doesn't want to be in this video because she's tired and sweaty. So we added a couple of informative pieces to answer the questions we received from the guy in Cambridge. You know who you are. And the guy that was asking about the float. Anyway, thanks for watching.